Welcome, and thank you for joining the 15 Minutes to Win It Safety series. Today, I'll be presenting one of the most vital foundations of workplace safety, hazard recognition. Whether you're a new team member or a seasoned safety lead, spotting risks early is what turns reactive responses into proactive protection. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through real-world strategies, field-tested techniques, and practical insights to help you sharpen your hazard radar. By the end of this session, you'll be better equipped to identify risks before they turn into incidents and contribute to building a stronger and safer workplace culture. Let's get started. Here's why this matters. Industry data shows us that up to 80% of workplace incidents can be traced back to hazards that went unrecognized. Think about that. Most of the time, the danger was already there, and someone just didn't see it. When we get better at recognizing hazards, we reduce injuries, protect operations, and ultimately save lives. Here is a real-world example about a missing guard that saved a life. At a mid-sized manufacturing facility in Texas, a maintenance technician was performing routine checks on a conveyor system. During his walkthrough, he noticed that a machine guard, designed to shield workers from a rotating shaft, was missing. The area wasn't part of his assigned inspection zone, but his training in hazard recognition kicked in. He reported the missing guard immediately. The equipment was locked out and tagged for repair. The maintenance team replaced the guard within hours. 2 days later, a new hire was assigned to clean around that same conveyor. Had the guard still been missing, the worker's loose clothing could have easily become entangled in the rotating shaft, potentially resulting in a severe injury or fatality. This near incident never made the headlines, but it's a powerful reminder that recognizing and acting on a hazard, even outside your immediate responsibility, can prevent tragedy. It's not just about compliance, it's about culture, vigilance, and shared responsibility. What is a hazard? A hazard is any source with the potential to cause harm. That includes things like moving machinery, slippery floors, chemicals, even improper lighting. Now here's a key point: a hazard isn't the same as a risk. The hazard is the potential, risk is the likelihood and severity of that harm happening. Some hazards stare you in the face, others are hidden, behavioral, or even embedded in company culture. That's why good hazard recognition goes beyond just having sharp eyes. It's a mindset. A useful model to categorize what we're looking for is PHMES: physical, health, mechanical, ergonomic, and social or organizational hazards. Let's walk through these. Physical hazards include heat, noise, and unguarded equipment. Health hazards might be chemicals, fumes, or biological agents. Mechanical hazards are things like rotating parts, pinch points, or shearing actions. Ergonomic hazards often go overlooked: awkward postures or repetitive tasks that cause musculoskeletal injuries. Finally, social or organizational hazards involve factors like shift fatigue, stress, or poor supervision. Knowing how to name and frame these categories helps us sharpen our eyes and expand our awareness. Let's talk about how hazards get missed. One big factor is complacency. You've walked the same path every day, and your brain starts tuning things out. Another is overfamiliarity. When you know the worksite too well, you stop really seeing it. Physical blind spots, like top shelves, corners, or the back of equipment, are also culprits. And don't underestimate human behavior. People take shortcuts, especially under time pressure. Recognizing hazards sometimes means recognizing behaviors. So how do we prioritize what we find? One approach is using the risk equation, severity times probability, or a risk assessment matrix. A risk matrix is a type of map used to identify the relative magnitude of a risk. Risk matrix can be simple, with as few as a 2x2, 3x3, or more complicated, with a 10x10 matrix. Here we are using a 5x5x5 matrix for these axes: severity, probability, and control. The product of these three numbers will identify the risk assessment code, RAC. A sharp edge on a hand tool might cause a minor injury, low severity. But a failing overhead lift? That's high severity, even if the chance of failure is small. Use this equation to score and rank what you find. It helps you decide what needs attention right now versus what needs a long-term fix. Here are a few tried and true techniques. First, walk the work area with fresh eyes. Try to see it like it's your first day. That shift in mindset often brings hidden issues into focus. Second, use checklists and what-if scenarios. What if that cord got caught under a rolling cart? What if this chemical label was unreadable in an emergency? Third, talk to the people doing the work. They usually know where things go wrong, even if they don't always speak up. And finally, document what you see, photos, sketches, notes. Don't rely on memory. So, what happens when you spot a hazard? Simple, 3 steps: stop, report, mitigate. Stop, ask if this is an immediate threat that needs urgent control. Report, use your company's process, whether it's a digital system, a hotline, or a safety card. Mitigate, that could mean tagging it out, putting up temporary signage, or escalating the issue. Remember, safety isn't a solo mission. The faster we loop in the right people, the faster we prevent incidents. Hazard recognition only works if it becomes part of the daily routine. That means integrating it into toolbox talks, pre-job briefings, and site walkthroughs. Try something like micro-hazard hunts, encouraging everyone to find one issue during the shift. And perhaps most importantly, celebrate near-incident reporting. A near incident isn't a failure, it's proof the system is working and someone took responsibility before harm was done. Let's walk through a real-world scenario together. There is no pressure, just take a moment to think it through. You enter a loading dock area. The lighting is decent, but tucked between 2 stacks of boxes is a wooden pallet, leaning diagonally and unsecured. It's clearly unstable, just one nudge away from tipping into someone's path. Now pause for a second. Would you notice it? More importantly, would you act? Here's what hazard recognition looks like in practice. First, your hazard radar triggers. It doesn't look right. Second, you assess, could this fall and cause injury? The answer is yes. Third, you report it and, if safe, reposition or secure it until further action can be taken. These are the small wins that prevent big losses. The more we practice seeing what doesn't belong, the more natural hazard recognition becomes. Over time, this mindset shift transforms safety from a task into a habit. As we come to the close of this session, let's reflect on the key takeaways, those small yet powerful habits that elevate safety from policy to culture. First, hazard recognition is proactive. It's about seeing what could go wrong before it does. It's not enough to respond to incidents, we need to prevent them. That starts with sharpening our awareness. We've learned how to use the PHMES framework, a practical tool to classify hazards across physical, health, mechanical, ergonomic, and even social or organizational domains. Whether it's a loose cord, an awkward posture, or understaffing that pushes fatigue, every hazard counts. We've explored why routine can blind us. The more familiar we become with our environment, the easier it is to overlook subtle dangers. That's why bringing fresh eyes to your space, daily, is critical. Then, there's the risk equation, severity times probability. This helps you gauge urgency and prioritize mitigation. Not every hazard poses equal danger, but every hazard deserves a measured response. Finally, safety is a collective effort. Spotting hazards, reporting them, and taking action shouldn't fall on one person, it should live in every role and every shift. The power lies in repetition: recognize, react, repeat. As you go back into your companies, remember, you're not just showing up to work. You're showing up to see, to recognize what others might miss, to act fast, stay safe, and make safety a living part of your culture. That's it for today's Safety Spotlight, quick, practical, and ready to apply. Every minute matters when it comes to staying safe, and you just invested one step forward. Don't stop here. Join us in the next episode of 15 Minutes to Win It, Safety Series, where we keep building your safety toolkit one power-packed lesson at a time.